Have you guys ever wondered if morning routines are actually beneficial in life? I mean, all the successful people have them, right? We got Tom Brady, Jeff Bezos, Chris Hemsworth, Tony Robbins, Barack Obama, the president, you know? But the question becomes, how will a morning routine benefit you in you achieving your dream physique? Look, we all know by now that lifting weights, doing cardio, eating better, that's how you physically get to that goal and you getting to your physique. But that's not the problem. The problem is mental. This could be like being inconsistent. This can be you being lazy in the gym, so a lack of effort in the gym equaling no results. Or this can be you not having the energy to get up and go to the gym even though you want to change your physique and change your health. But that still equals no results. The reason why you're feeling this low energy or lack of effort, which is causing no results, might be coming down to the way that your morning routine is structured. You can either have a negative morning routine or a positive morning routine. A routine that's gonna help you and benefit you for your day rather than drain you of your day. So what I mean by like draining you is like doing something unproductive like scrolling on TikTok. That's draining you of the life force needed that you can be using to put towards your goals. But what you could be doing instead is having a morning routine that is built to make you more productive and build that momentum and motivation needed to build that relentless, boundless energy and productivity that you can be putting towards your goals. Putting yourself in a state that's going to allow you to put 110% effort into your goals rather than draining them like TikTok. And believe me, I'm not demonizing TikTok. I mean, I fucking love TikTok. That's kind of exactly why I started this morning routine for myself, that's why I'm making this video. To let you guys know my whole experience within these past 7 days of me using a morning routine, how has it benefited me, and giving you guys all the details like that. But I'm also making this video to give you the information to decide if you should be making a morning routine for yourself. That way, you can become a more energized version of yourself that's gonna allow you to become more consistent in putting extreme amounts of effort into your goals and becoming a leaner, stronger, more energized version of yourself. So this leads me down to what is my routine, why did I start it, and how is it benefiting me? And I'm showing you guys this to give you guys an example of what I do so that way you guys can get an idea of how to apply it for yourself. So here's my list. Number one, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. From there, I do a mindset meditation. From there, I go downstairs and get some sunlight and I start reading a book while drinking some coffee. So I have 5 things in my morning routine that allows me to become the best version of myself. So that morning routine that I built for myself is kind of like the bridge to going from that groggy version of myself, unmotivated version of myself, to this more getting ready to handle every single aspect of my day. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing when it comes to like having the energy to be able to work out, is because they never get that transition from groggy, unmotivated, not really wanting to handle stuff to handling fucking business. I mean, like realistically, let's think about it. It's kind of like a warm-up. Like going to the gym, you don't just arrive at the gym, go to the bench press and put on 300 pounds and start pressing it, you know? No, you need a warm-up. You need something to get you to that point. And that's what I view a morning routine as, is that point from going to not warmed up to ready to bench press 300 pounds, if that makes sense. So now I want to explain why I've chosen those specific things in my routine so you guys can see on a deeper level of how it's actually getting me to that point where I'm ready to take on the day. That way you guys can start doing it for yourself, taking on the day and being ready to handle those workouts, being ready to eat better, being happy to eat better, being happy to work out. That way you guys are more consistent with it and get to the goal you want to get to, which is the dream physique that you guys want. So the first thing that I do is I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Why do I do this? Well, number one, it's such a peaceful time to just be up and working and getting deep working. That's why I do it. There's no sound outside. Everything's quiet. There's barely any wind, at least right now. It's enjoyable and it puts me into like just a nice, relaxed, focused state. The next reason why I actually do that is because since I have to wake up in the morning, I also have to go to sleep early. And I've noticed that as the day gets later into the nighttime, I tend to really crave instant gratification like video games and TikTok and watching movies. And when I'm in my working week and I'm supposed to be grinding it out, you know, becoming successful, becoming that best version of myself, I can't be doing things like that. So preventing myself from being able to do so because I have to wake up early the next day is also why waking up at 6 o'clock helps me out, because it puts me to sleep faster. So the next thing that I do right when I wake up, immediately I stay in bed and I open my eyes because I wake up, and then I shut them again and get ready for a mindset meditation practice. Because the reason I do this is because I have a tendency to doubt myself and have limiting beliefs and put myself down, and that is the wrong mindset for what I want to accomplish in life. It helps me get into that relaxed, creative, confident version of myself, and that allows me to do real good deep work and put all of my mind and effort into my deep work, instead of just focusing on why I'm not good enough and why I have all these limiting self-doubts about myself, because that's selfish. That's selfish for me to do, realistically. I need to be putting my mind into the stuff that I have to do every single day. That's selfish. The next thing that I do is I go immediately downstairs and get some fucking sunlight. Sunlight helps you in so many ways, more than just, getting a tan. It helps. It's like the sun is a powerhouse of energy that we can use for free, and it's like natural energy. That's what wakes us up in the morning. So let me just list off a few benefits real quick. So number 1 is it helps regulate your mood. Number 2 is it regulates your circadian rhythms. Number 3 is it increases focus by reduces melatonin. So when you get that sunlight, the rays from the sun are hitting your pineal gland, and that's responsible for telling you to produce a hormone called melatonin, which we all know helps you fall asleep. So once that sun hits your pineal gland, it stops producing that, and I think it also starts producing something called cortisol. Well, I know it's cortisol, and that's what wakes you up. There's so many benefits to sunlight more than that. You got mitochondrial function, you got metabolic function, you got all these different kind of things. Now the next one I do is I start reading a book as I'm getting that sunlight. So I'm getting the sunlight, I'm reading the book, and the reason that I read these books, which are self-improvement books, is it helps me view the world for that day in a lens of self-improvement and confidence, and telling me that there's opportunities everywhere, rather than my usual self-doubt talking that I usually have with my mindset sometimes. So why not have your mind and your brain on your side, viewing the world in a lens of just like abundance, rather than not having that, So that's why I read books. And then the last thing I do as I'm getting sunlight, as I'm reading a book, is I drink some coffee. It makes me feel good. I like drinking coffee. I like the taste of it, and it gives me that wired feeling of just being urgent with my work. I gotta get to work, I gotta get to work, I gotta get to work, I gotta get to work. Like, that's what it makes me feel like internally, so I drink coffee. Now, I created this morning routine for me. It is personalized for me, made for my strengths, made for my weaknesses. Now, imagine if you made a morning routine that helps you develop the same exact thing and gets you ready for the day. How would that affect the way you look at food, the way you work out, the way everything? That's why now I believe having a morning routine can really help a person out. I mean, we've already heard pretty much a lot of the benefits it comes with. There's one I haven't talked about, which could be one of the biggest ones. Like, we know that, having a morning routine, it gives you those early wins. So it creates that confidence and motivation and momentum to keep the day pushing forward. It also can prevent bad habits of you going through that negative morning routine and having you feel sluggish, groggy, full of gluttony and all that. It also helps you become more disciplined, which I didn't talk about. But discipline is a skill that you have to learn to get better at. It's not something you're born with. Yes, some people have more discipline than others based on the things that they actually enjoy and do, but it's a skill that you can develop. And doing those things every single day, being consistent with that morning routine full of easy tasks, helps you develop that skill of becoming more disciplined, so that way you can handle the tasks of becoming disciplined with nutrition, with workouts, with a healthy lifestyle, and eventually it just becomes easy. But the number one reason why I'm going to continue doing this morning routine is the compounded effects that can come along with it. Now, I want you guys to understand the concept that I'm talking about here. So in order to do so, I want to talk about the negative compounding effects first. So, for example, let's say there's a guy who starts a bad habit of eating like shit, right? Randomly, he just decides to eat like shit for 7 days. Now, he might not feel the negative benefits too bad. He might feel a little bit tired. He maybe gained some water weight because of all the junk he's eating, but nothing crazy noticeable. But after some time, give it like a year or two, that's when it starts to take its effect. The negative compounding effects start to take its effect. He started gaining weight. He gained like 20 pounds. Now, he craves instant gratification. He's more likely to crave instant gratification. So then, for some reason, now he picks up drinking. Now he's watching TV often. He stopped reading books because, again, he craves instant gratification. That only makes him gain even more weight because he's not moving. Now, on top of that, he's feeling depressed, Lack of confidence because he looks like shit, he feels like shit. So then that leads to diabetes. Diabetes leads you to getting like dizzy and creates less energy. So it kind of feeds back into that loop, that cycle of just getting worse and worse and worse. Now the scary thing is about compounding effects, especially in a negative way over time, is it starts to speed up. So you might feel worse and it's like slowly getting worse and worse and worse. That's why you don't notice the weight loss at first, because it's so slow. But after time, your metabolism starts shutting down, your hormonal balances starts getting out of whack. You start getting, it's basically the negative effects start getting worse and worse and worse, faster and faster and faster and faster until you look like this. And then maybe you're dead or something, I don't know. Let's take this in the opposite direction. Let's say you do some good habits. You start reading more and you start walking every day for 10 minutes. Now that you started doing that, you might not see benefits in the 7 days that are like out of this world. But after some time, over a year, now you've lost 10, 15, 20 pounds. So you look better, because your speech is better. You're more confident in the way you speak to, let's say, women. And you also look better, so you get a girlfriend, And because you have a girlfriend and she's so supportive because she's a real nice girl, because you're a good person, that causes you to work harder. And now you're working harder. And let's say, I don't know, because you're so motivated and full of energy and, you're healthy, you make better decisions and you come up with the motivating, inspiring thought to open up a business. So you do that, and then now you start a business and it's becoming successful. And I'm just saying, like, these compounding effects can just like feed back into yourself and make you become better and better and better over time, faster and faster and faster. And it all led by one simple habit that you decided to do, which is a morning routine. I'm just trying to show you how compounding effects can affect really the trajectory of your life. And you're really only going in a positive direction or a negative direction. There is no maintaining, because if you're maintaining, there's a thing called entropy, and entropy just means you're kind of slowly dying off. We've talked about all the benefits that you get with a morning routine. The compounding effects, the daily wins, making you in a better state to handle the day, all of that. But how do you make a routine for yourself? What are the questions you should ask yourself? That way you can figure out what tasks you need to add in your routine to put yourself in that state of success and being able to handle your day. So first things first, don't just copy my routine. You got to optimize it for your strengths, and strengthening your strengths and strengthening your weaknesses. Ask yourself, what would you need to do to put yourself from a state of groggy, sloppy, unmotivated, maybe doubtful, maybe less energetic, to this best version of yourself? Is that reading a book? Is that taking a cold shower? Is that taking a walk? What's going to put you in that state early in the morning and let you get those early wins? Okay, so I know that can be a little bit tough to figure out, especially when you don't know too much about this stuff. So I'm going to real quick just give you a list of things you can do. You can take cold showers. That's going to spike up your adrenaline levels. Drink a glass of water, get an early day. Drink a glass of water, start being healthier. Making your bed, that's an easy win you could do. Start improving your discipline levels. You can read, get more knowledgeable, help you view the world in a different lens, like me, maybe, possibly. You can do some sunlight, grounding work, get you energized. All of these things work. Just take a quick screenshot of this and then figure out what you need to do to make up your morning routine. And then this should be like about 15 to 30 minutes a day in the early morning. It shouldn't be more than that. And one last thing, if you guys are struggling with being consistent with your diet, being consistent with exercise, you guys don't have the right mindset of self-improvement, but you guys really want to, you guys want to do something about your situation. You're tired of having that double chin. You're tired of feeling fat, self-conscious. I help people self-improve by giving them the right mindset, the right mental models to apply to become more consistent, to want to chase the goals that they have in mind for themselves and become eventually that person they want to become, which is probably a leaner, stronger, more energetic version of themselves. All you need to do to take that first step, because it comes down to you, is click the link below. Let's set up a call between us. Let's figure out what's happening in your life that's causing all these problems to come up, and let's come up with a game plan to take down these problems so that way you can become the version of yourself that you want to become. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this little video about having a morning routine. I know it's definitely helping me out. Yeah, start that morning routine up.